Picture this. It's like 3 p.m. on a random Tuesday. You're sitting at your desk trying to finish up some work, but suddenly your brain just feels incredibly heavy. Maybe your hands feel a little shaky, your mood is tanking, and really, only one thought takes over your entire mind. You need something sweet, like right now. Well, let's dive into this by validating something super important right out of the gate. Your 3 p.m. crash and those intense cravings, they aren't a lack of willpower. It's not some personal failure of discipline. What you're experiencing is actually powerful biochemistry at play. Over time, your brain has learned that highly processed sugar equals an instant dopamine hit, and eventually, that wiring becomes a hard demand, not just a casual request. But, the real danger isn't just in the cravings themselves. It's the hidden damage happening way beneath the surface. It's a process called glycation. So imagine caramelized sugar hardening and getting all sticky in a hot pan. That exact same chemical reaction begins happening inside you when you have excess sugar floating around in your bloodstream. It literally cooks your body from the inside out. It stiffens your blood vessels, triggers joint inflammation, and actually destroys structural proteins like collagen, the exact stuff that keeps your skin looking youthful. Basically, it's aging you, quietly and persistently, every single day. But hey, the good news is that this damage is absolutely not permanent. Welcome to This Explainer, where we are going to unpack the fascinating biological timeline of what exactly happens to your body and your brain when you quit sugar for 30 days. We're going to explore exactly how you can reset these deeply ingrained biological patterns. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at 1. The hidden sugar trap, 2. Surviving the first 72 hours, 3. The metabolic turning point, 4. The 30-day transformation, 5. The rules of the challenge, and 6. What happens beyond those 30 days. All right, let's jump right into section 1, the hidden sugar trap. Get this, the data is actually pretty startling. According to a recent NIH study, individuals who follow a sugar-free lifestyle see a massive 25% decrease in their daily caloric intake after just 2 weeks. Now, why does that happen? Because your body finally stops desperately chasing that fake, fast-burning energy and actually starts recognizing true satiety. It finally knows when it's full. But getting to that sweet spot, pun intended, isn't easy, largely because of what scientists call an extinction burst. See, the crucial point here is that sugar spikes your dopamine in pathways that are remarkably similar to addictive drugs. In fact, animal studies have shown that in rats, sugar can activate neurochemical pathways even more potently than cocaine. No joke. So when you suddenly remove that daily sugar hit, your brain absolutely panics. It triggers this extinction burst, which is basically your brain throwing a temporary, aggressive tantrum, cranking up your cravings and emotional discomfort just to force you to get that reward back. And that brings us to section 2, surviving the first 72 hours. This is the descent. This is honestly the hardest part of the challenge, where you are absolutely going to feel worse before you feel better. Here's exactly what's going down in your body. On day 1, as your blood sugar drops, your body taps into its emergency sugar storage, which is called glycogen. Now, because every single gram of glycogen is tightly bound to 3 grams of water, breaking it down means you'll quickly flush a lot of water weight and bloating. Then, day 2 hits. As you continually need new energy, a process called gluconeogenesis kicks in, and this is what causes that intense fatigue and those classic withdrawal headaches. By day 3, your body starts breaking down fat into ketones for fuel. This releases a specific byproduct called acetone. So yes, you might literally get breath that smells a bit like nail polish remover or rotting fruit. It's wild, but it means it's working. To put that into perspective, think of what's happening internally during this super uncomfortable phase like this. Your body is totally confused. It's transitioning from burning quick kindling, that's the sugar, which lights up really fast but burns out immediately, to burning sustainable, steady firewood, which is your stored fat. It takes a minute for your body's mitochondria to adapt to this new, more efficient fuel source, which is exactly why you feel so incredibly exhausted initially. But if you can just push through that rough patch, we arrive at section 3, the metabolic turning point. Somewhere around days 5 through 10 is where the magic finally begins. Research on fasting and sugar reduction shows that your taste buds literally recalibrate during this window. They become incredibly sensitive to natural sweetness. An apple will suddenly taste like absolute candy. By week 2, that stubborn water weight is gone, your energy finally stops crashing because you aren't riding that glucose roller coaster anymore, and you'll notice your digestion and gut health really stabilizing. This massive shift happens because you are finally extinguishing the hidden fire of low-grade inflammation. And look, we're not talking about the acute inflammation of, say, a sprained ankle. This is chronic, systemic inflammation driven by constant insulin spikes. As your insulin drops, this hidden fire starts to go out. That is exactly why your joints stop aching, your puffiness goes down, and that heavy, lingering brain fog finally lifts. Now, for the really fun part. Section 4, the 30-day transformation. Let's look at what happens biologically as you approach the finish line here. During the 3rd and 4th weeks, your brain starts optimizing the production of something called BDNF. Think of this as literal fertilizer for your neurons. It helps clear mental fog and repairs neural pathways, which surprisingly does a lot to calm background anxiety. At the same time, your cells are becoming highly sensitive to insulin again. Dropping your insulin resistance has profound downstream effects. For instance, it naturally increases testosterone levels and actively reduces fat buildup in your liver, which significantly lowers your risk for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And the results aren't just internal, you'll actually see it right there in the mirror. Dermatologists often quietly refer to sugar face. It's that dull, puffy, acne-prone skin caused by excessive insulin and inflammation. But because we've halted that damaging glycation process we talked about earlier, oil production balances out, and collagen damage stops. Your skin starts glowing simply because your body is finally redirecting its energy toward repair instead of just frantic survival. So, how do we actually execute this challenge without completely losing our minds? Section 5, Rules of the Challenge. Okay, the primary goal here is to cut out all added sugars. That obviously means avoiding the usual suspects like soda, baked goods, and candy. But you also have to watch out for the hidden sugars in condiments like ketchup, BBQ sauce, and even those supposedly healthy sweetened yogurts. You'll also want to ditch artificial sweeteners, because honestly, they just keep your sweet taste cravings alive. Instead, you're going to replace all of that with whole, nutrient-dense foods. We're talking complex carbs, lean proteins, tons of whole veggies, and healthy fats like avocados and olive oil. Now, as you make this switch to whole foods, here is a really surprising twist for you. Did you know that lemons actually have more sugar than strawberries? It's true. They contain up to 70% sugar, but their intense citric acid completely masks the sweetness. It just goes to show how incredibly complex natural flavors are once we get away from all that hyper-processed stuff. Which naturally leads to a super common point of confusion. People always ask, wait, is fruit bad? No, absolutely not. When it comes to natural sugars found in whole foods, they are perfectly safe. Whole fruit comes naturally packaged with fiber, water, and nutrients. That fiber dramatically slows down how quickly the sugar enters your bloodstream, naturally buffering your insulin spike. It's the highly processed liquid sugars, like juices and sodas, that slam your pancreas with glucose instantly that we really want to avoid. Finally, let's look at the long-term horizon in Section 6, beyond the 30 days. What happens when this 30-day challenge becomes a lifelong identity? Well, the compounding benefits are truly staggering. At 6 weeks, research shows that a lower sugar diet significantly improves IBS symptoms. After a year, data from over 50,000 postmenopausal women showed a strong correlation between low sugar intake and drastically reduced insomnia. Your sleep gets so much better. And stretching from 1 to 5 years out, your risk profile for heart disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, and even certain cancers drops remarkably. You aren't just dieting, you are fundamentally changing your disease risk profile. I want to leave you with this really powerful realization directly from the source material. If you have ever struggled with afternoon crashes, stubborn weight gain, or just uncontrollable cravings, you really need to hear this. You weren't lazy, you weren't weak, and you certainly weren't broken. You were simply metabolically trapped by an environment that literally engineers your food for hyperstimulation. Understanding that is the absolute key to letting go of the guilt. So the real question I have for you today is this. Are you going to use this knowledge just to grit your teeth and survive a temporary 30-day challenge, only to go right back to the baseline that made you tired and inflamed in the first place? Or will today be the day you finally rewrite your metabolic identity and permanently unlock your energy and your health? The choice is entirely yours.